Dreeg's Evil Eye is not a build I would have sought out to create myself, but my partner in Grim Dawn Crime, Arcade Life, suggested I try it out. This build is built around most of his recommendations, but I've made some minor changes. At level 97, this is what my build looks like. You can see that the majority is in Occultist, and that is for good reason. The second mastery is very much open to what you want to do. I chose to follow Arcade Life and go for Arcanist, but honestly, you can do whatever you want. I was tempted to go for Soldier for extra toughness, but I do too many Soldier builds as it is, so I decided to do this instead. It is an incredibly easy build to use. Buff yourself with Blood of Dreeg, put a Curse of Frailty on your enemy, and then chuck Dreeg's Evil Eye at them. Run away if needed, or at least run around, and rinse and repeat. Easy mode. This build is by far the easiest I've done in terms of finding the gear, as so many of the required items are from single easily farmable named targets, or easily farmed mobs. Most of the gear, unless you're really lucky, you will want to farm more than one of them to get the best stats you can. It is still far easier though than hoping for world drops to happen, for which some of my historical builds unfortunately have relied upon. Arcade Life has a short video on the best items to get, where to farm them, and some potential alternatives too, which I'll link in the description, but here's a quick rundown of what I did. For weapons, I first of all got Pascal's Tail, and then when I could I got Crimson's Vile Scepter. I could, at level 94, farm the perfect Crimson's Vile Scepter, but I chose to go for Corruption instead, which is a blueprint item, but I still may go and get Crimson's Vile Scepter as the perfect stats instead, because apparently it can be better. But basically do what you wish. For offhand items, I initially got the Occult Horn, and I had to get Duncan as the blacksmith to get that. However, as soon as I could, I got the Grubble Toxic Effigy, which is better than the Occult Horn, but you don't need to farm the Occult Horn if you want to go for that one instead. As soon as I could get to Ashes of Malmuth, and I was not using merits to this build, I got the Leafman Alpha Horn. I actually got mine from the Ancient Grove from the vendor there, but I could have farmed it instead. In terms of amulets, I initially got the Putrid Necklace, but as soon as I could, I got Runner Practice Sting, which I'm probably mispronouncing, but it doesn't matter. For the medal, at level 40, I got the Basilisk's Fang. I couldn't get it before level 40 anyway, because that's the minimum level it requires, but I also had to wait to get to Ashes of Malmuth anyway, so I was in no rush. For armor, you got one choice for the chest and two choices for the shoulders. The chest is quite easy, it's a Chosen Remnant, which you can farm at the same time as you're farming the weapon. The shoulders, however, you've got two options. You can buy the Rowie Mantle from the Rovers, which is easy because you can buy it at level 35 or level 70, and you don't have to worry about farming it. But I mainly went after the Corvin Pauldrons instead, which again you have to farm, but they are actually better. You'll notice in the build linked in the description, my shoulders are actually the Death Guard Mantle right now, and I know why this is, and I haven't followed my own advice, but it's because I needed the extra armor for survivability at one point, and I haven't changed them yet. I will, however, be getting the Corvin Pauldrons when I can. All other gear you need is just the best you can get for buffing accompanying skills or just adding poison acid damage output. With components, don't neglect your resistances, but as soon as you have those under control, again just push poison acid damage. You will get some items that will buff Blood of Dreeg, Blood Burst, etc., and just use them if they are useful to you at the time. Some issues I did have with the build was, although normal and elite was not that bad and I did have some silly human error deaths, when I hit ultimate I got a bit odd. Devil's Crossing to the Warden was fine, but then I chose to go to Forgotten Gods due to the items being faster and easier to get than waiting for Ashes of Malmuth in ultimate. Most bosses were just fine, but the sheer number of enemies swarming me out of the wild gave me nowhere to run, and sometimes my damage was not matching the ultimate health pools they had at the time either, so I had a few silly deaths there also. If I did it again, I would have definitely not gone to Forgotten Gods first in ultimate and gone down the Ashes of Malmuth route first, but it is what it was. Another issue I was having, and there's no easy way to say this, was me. Generally, I play melee builds in Grim Dawn, and remembering that I need to be tactful and not always be in the fray was lost on me on occasion. I died way too many times because I was being cocky with my movement and pushing too hard. If you just stay back from the enemy with this build, you will survive. Honestly though, it was a fun build, and I will continue to kit it out as I know it will be a celestial killer, well at least a few of them anyway, if I play them right. Let me know if this helped you at all in the comments below. Thanks and stay safe.